Hi there. If you're a sales manager or you're a business owner, probably one of the biggest questions that you've ever asked yourself is, how do I get my salespeople motivated? Well, today I'm going to answer that question for you. It's one of the most common questions that I get. Hi there. My name is Rich Grof from RG Performance Sales Coaching and Leadership Development. Motivating your sales employee is very, very critical to the success of your business. A motivated employee will turn around and get the job done. They'll actually be way ahead of target. They're going to bring in all kinds of great contracts for you, and their business will shine because they're motivated and they're happy and they're healthy and they're moving forward. Occasionally, though, that's not the case. You might have a team of people that you're working with, and you might have several that are motivated, and you can't, stop them. They're just go, go, go all the time. And then you're going to have somebody who's reluctant, and that reluctant person is who I'm talking about today. So let's talk about some basics, and we're going to have several videos on this, but I want to make sure that we get the basics down today in this one video, and then there'll be several others that you can see in the comments below here that you can actually link into, and we'll get right through the whole motivational idea so you know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So let's talk about motivation from a big picture. The first thing we got to know about motivation is we are 100% always motivated. The question is, are we motivated to go left or go right or go straight forward? So if you think of motivation as a scale of 100% and it's 100% across the board, we are equally motivated to do one thing or the other. When it seems like we're not moving forward, what's showing up is we're not actually going the direction we want to, because there's a negative motivator to stop us and a positive motivator that makes us want to go forward, but they're balancing out and it's causing us to stall. So as a sales manager, you got to understand that concept. Because the first thing I look at when I come into a sales situation like this is I ask myself, does this person really want to produce results? And most people do. Very, very seldom do I ever find someone who's lost the zip, lost the courage to go forward as a salesperson. They usually want to do an exceptional job. So I'm just going to assume that every salesperson that we're talking about right now, if you're a salesperson, you nod your head with this one and go, yeah, of course, I want to do a good job. You don't get into sales wanting to do a lousy job. Most of us will want to do a great job. That's just human nature. It's good for our ego. It's good for everything that we do, and we want to do a great job. Now, there's barriers, though, that slow us down. So you have to know the balancing act of the barriers and everything else that we're bringing in. Motivation itself is great if you've got no barriers, because it'll move you forward in the direction that you want to go. So you've got someone right now in your office or somebody in your business right now that's not producing. Ask yourself some simple questions. So let's talk about motivation. The first question is, what would be slowing them down? And one of our performance factors that we know for performance sales coaching, one of the performance factors that we know is what people think. So you can listen for clues. You can sit down and you can have a conversation with them, say, I know that you're not moving forward or you're not keeping pace with everybody else. How do you feel about that? And they're going to tell you, well, I'm doing my best. I'm trying my hardest. I'm doing everything I can. And then you look at them and say, so I hear that you want to, do a great job. Fantastic. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to help you with that. So you're going to discover really quickly when you start to move forward with that individual what's really holding them back. And 9 times out of 10, it's what they've got going in their mind that's happening. So if you've ever had that picture in your brain of that, negative self-talk and the positive sometimes is the devil and the angel in the cartoons, what we're seeing is that individual will have a negative connotation about what they have to do. And if they have a negative connotation, they're not going to do it because they'll be out of personal integrity. So that's the first clue. If they're out of integrity, so you got to check in with their integrity. If they're out of integrity, you know that they're not going to produce results. It's not going to happen. Why? Because most of us got to live with ourselves 24 hours a day. That's why. And without medication of some sort, we have to deal with everything that we work and we do. So if you're pre-programmed in the back of your mind not to do certain things, such as telemarket or intrude with people or be pushy or be aggressive, chances are you're not going to do that. You're going to stay away from that. So every person has some preset, baselines of what they think they can do. And our job as sales managers is to bring out the best in every single person. So you have to get into the psychology of the individual you're working with. So I usually will turn around and I'll start having a conversation. I'm going to ask a lot of great questions. I'm going to ask them to explain what they're feeling, what they're thinking. But the first thing we want to do is we want to normalize it. If we normalize it with them, they're going to understand that everybody goes through challenges, everyone goes through difficulties. Now, do you have to pay a little bit psychology here? Yes, there's psychology involved. But everything we do when it comes from a management or leadership perspective is all about the other person, so we better understand their psychology. If you want to bring out the best in an individual, you got to know who they are, you got to know what makes them tick, and you want to turn around and bring them to the highest level of capability that they can, and they want that too. So they're on your side. So you got to build up some trust, then you got to turn around and you got to say, okay, let's explain this, understand this, let's see what a hurdle is, and together we're going to work through the hurdle. The big picture on motivation is this. You can help somebody get motivated, and you can try stimuli. I know for years and generations, we've been doing different things. Sales managers have tried different things to motivate. I remember being in the real estate business, and the biggest trick that they had back then, and from a management perspective, is they would encourage people to buy the biggest house, the biggest car that they couldn't afford or they could get financing for. Then what would happen is you'd have these huge payments, and just the fear of not making the payments would actually cause that person to go out and produce. And it will work for a short period of time. That's the key. External stimulation, I'm going to explain this in one of the videos in great detail, all the different ways that people are motivated. External stimuli can cause somebody to perform for a short period of time. So you can tell somebody they're going to lose their job. They will perform short term, but they're not likely to sustain that as a long-term objective unless they get over the hurdles that are holding them back internally. So, pushing and getting somebody and giving a quick kick in the butt, it's not going to work. You really do have to understand the psychology and help them change the way they're thinking so they can move forward. So your job as sales person and probably sales manager is really to understand exactly what's going on. When you get the blueprint of what's holding them back, you're going to go, oh yeah, well, of course that doesn't make sense. And then that's okay logically, but emotionally they're hooked into it. They're not going forward. Because the two brains that are fighting right now, one's logical, they know they need to sell, and the other one's emotional, and they may not even be consciously aware of their emotional mind. So in one of the videos that are coming up after this, I'm going to teach you how to listen for what that person's saying so that you can do it. So bottom line, if you're a sales manager, know that everything that you do with an individual, they're 100% motivated, they want to produce great results. Assume those two things. What you're going to find out, though, is that you have to discover, it's your job, really, to discover what's holding people back. And when you do discover what's holding people back, you're more than likely able to help them get over that hurdle with the tools I'm going to be providing in the next number of videos. This has been Rich Grof from RG Performance Sales Coaching. If you've got questions like this, send them to me. You put them in the comments below this video. I'll be glad to work on them. But just know that if you've got somebody who does not seem to be motivated, you just haven't found out exactly what the big motivator is, number one, and also what's holding them back. And when you get rid of those two things, or you get rid of the thing that's holding them back and you get the thing that's really going to be motivational to them, you can get exceptional results out of an individual and help them achieve great things just by helping them get their motivation balanced the right way.